Starting an affair with a nanny who watches your children might be romantic, perhaps, but it can go way too far. You've probably seen a love story like this somewhere in TV shows or movies, but you can't even imagine exactly how an affair like that might end. And as the outcome of this case that I'm going to break down today showed, such an affair can end quite tragically. The morning of February 24th, 2023 started out like any other in Herndon, Virginia, but quickly descended into chaos when gunshots rang out from the Banfield family home. What at first seemed like a tragic home invasion later turned out to be something much more complicated. Kristen Banfield, a dedicated nurse and mother, lost her life that day, along with a man named Joseph Ryan, under circumstances that left investigators baffled for months. The Banfield family seemed to embody the American dream. College sweethearts who married in 2010, built successful careers, and welcomed a daughter in 2018, their million-dollar home and comfortable lifestyle painted a picture of family happiness, complete with Brazilian nannies who helped care for their child. However, behind this perfect facade were secrets that eventually came to light in a shocking turn of events, revealing a web of relationships and betrayal that turned what was thought to be a home invasion into one of the most tangled murder investigations of 2023. And it would seem, what else could this family possibly be missing? They have everything for happiness. A big house, a loving wife, a good career, and mutual understanding within the family. But apparently, Brandon wanted some kind of new sensations, and that's exactly why he decided to start an affair with the nanny who was watching his own daughter. But later on, he'll even decide to get rid of his own life altogether. But why did he do that? That's exactly what I'm gonna tell you right now. The life of what seemed to be a perfect family was shattered by a brutal incident that left two people dead and raised questions about the true relationships between everyone involved. The investigation took a dramatic turn when authorities arrested Juliana, the family's nanny, on charges of second-degree murder 7 months after the incident. Initial statements about a home invasion gradually gave way to revelations of possible hidden relationships and conflicting accounts of what actually happened that February morning. The quiet life of a Virginia neighborhood was disrupted on February 24, 2023, when chaos broke out in the Banfield family home. At around 7:50 in the morning, a brief, abruptly cut-off call to 911 was made from Juliana's phone. About 13 minutes later, there was another call. This time, Juliana reported that a friend had been injured, after which Brandon took over, stating that he had found his wife Christine with stab wounds and had shot a man named Ryan. Police arrived at the scene within minutes, where chaos reigned. They found two victims, 38-year-old Joseph Ryan, who was dead, and Christine Banfield, who had suffered serious injuries. Despite being rushed to the nearest hospital, Christine did not survive. Fortunately, the couple's 4-year-old daughter, who was present during the incident, was unharmed. The initial version of events presented to the authorities painted a specific picture. According to the testimony, Juliana came home from work and witnessed Joseph Ryan force his way into the house. She allegedly called Brandon, who was not at home, and then waited outside until he arrived. Together, they entered the house and found Christine severely injured, after which they encountered Ryan, resulting in Brandon allegedly shooting him in self-defense. From the very beginning, investigators were troubled by several inconsistencies. One of the puzzling details was Juliana's claim that she came home early in the morning for work, despite the typical arrangement of nannies living with their host families. Brandon refused to participate in further interviews after being discharged from the hospital, while Juliana fully cooperated with the police. For several months, the authorities kept the investigation under wraps, carefully gathering evidence. Neighbors reported that they often saw Juliana at the house, frequently with the couple's daughter. And I think the most perceptive among you have already started to realize that the point here isn't at all that some psycho broke into someone's house and started killing everyone. The whole point is that Brandon and Juliana came up with this plan to get rid of Brandon's wife. And what's the motive, you might ask? I'll answer that for you right now. The police proved the connection between Juliana and Brandon, but for me, the fact of why they would take Brandon's wife's life is still unclear. Because it's absolutely illogical. If you fell in love with another person, well, you can just have an affair and move somewhere far away with your new lover. That's exactly why I think Brandon and Juliana came up with some incredible plan, as a result of which Brandon's wife was supposed to die. But this is just some kind of madness. And yes, that's exactly how it was. By August 2023, Juliana had posted an online ad looking for a nanny in the area, which indicated that she was no longer participating in the au pair program. The case took a dramatic turn on October 19, 2023, when police arrested Juliana on charges of second-degree murder. Contrary to the initial version, investigators now claim that it was she, not Brandon, who fired the fatal shots at Joseph Ryan. This revelation directly contradicted the version that had been maintained for almost 8 months. Kristen and Brendan Banfield have established themselves as outstanding individuals with unique professional backgrounds. Their diverse experience has had a significant impact on their current endeavors and perspectives. The couple combines knowledge from different fields, creating a complementary partnership. Their collaborative approach has allowed them to overcome various challenges while maintaining their individual strengths. Throughout their relationship, they have demonstrated a commitment to shared values. This foundation has supported their professional growth and personal development over time. Their education prepared them for the respective career paths. This formative experience continues to influence their decision-making and strategic thinking to this day. The Banfields have overcome several obstacles that tested their resilience. Their ability to adapt to changing circumstances speaks to their problem-solving skills and determination. They maintain connections with their community through various initiatives. These relationships have proven valuable, both personally and professionally, as they have expanded their influence. Kristen began her academic journey at Quinnipiac University in Connecticut in 2003, studying nursing. The following year, she met Brandon Robert Banfield when they were both students. Their connection quickly blossomed into a romantic relationship. As their college years went by, they kept dating, focusing on their studies. Kristen earned her nursing degree in 2007, demonstrating her dedication to healthcare. By 2008, their relationship had become serious enough for Brandon to propose to her. Their engagement lasted about 2 years as they prepared for their future together. The couple got married on June 12, 2010, officially starting their life together. Kristen became a dedicated nurse, often working tough 16-hour night shifts that tested her endurance but fulfilled her professional passion. She sometimes shared her fitness achievements on social media, and Brandon often joined her at the gym. Brandon built a career as a federal agent in the tax department, specializing in fraud and tax evasion investigations. Unlike his wife, he maintained a more private online presence. Friends noted Brandon's support, especially how he encouraged Kristen's passion for fitness and regularly praised her achievements. Their life together included typical couple activities, going to football games, parties, and traveling, both within the country and abroad. They were what many would consider a classic American success story, meeting at a young age and building a future together. At first, the couple settled in New York and later moved to Herndon, Virginia. Their home in Virginia, valued at over $1 million, was located in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods. Both achieved career success with excellent salaries, creating financial stability that supported their comfortable lifestyle. Their professional duties sometimes required business trips, which meant they would both be away from home at the same time. In October 2017, when Kristen was 32, she announced her pregnancy on social media. On March 30th, 2018, the couple welcomed a daughter, which changed the dynamic of their family. In 2019, the Banfields decided to participate in a cultural exchange program for nannies. Their first nanny, Amanda from Brazil, joined the family in April 2019 and over the next 2 years formed a strong bond with them. After Amanda left, Juliana Peres, a 23-year-old Brazilian nurse, joined them, arriving at the end of 2021. Although Juliana's relationship with the family seemed positive enough for them to extend her stay for another year, this relationship later became central to the unexpected tragic events of 2023. It's hard not to agree that this couple has a rather long, interesting, and most importantly, touching love story. They came a long way, built a stunning career, had a child, and in general, everything in their life was absolutely positive. And for me personally, it's unclear how Brendan could decide on such a serious step. But it's one thing when you just cheat, and a completely different thing when you commit such a cruel crime. Why? But, I do have one theory, and I consider it the most truthful and the most plausible one. The thing is that Juliana could have talked Brendan into this terrible act, and Brendan's clouded mind listened to her. I'm sure, not very serious arguments, and he went through with it. Yeah, you might say, only some 16-year-old teenager would act like that. And I'd have to agree with you. But the fact remains the fact. On the morning of February 24th, 2023, the peaceful neighborhood where the Banfield family lived was shattered by violence. At around 7:50 a.m., a brief emergency call was made from Juliana's phone, but it was suddenly cut off. 13 minutes later, another call came in. Juliana reported that a friend had been injured. Then Brendan Banfield picked up the phone and told the dispatcher that he had found his wife Christine with stab wounds in the upstairs bedroom and had shot a man identified as Ryan. Police arrived within 10 minutes and found two victims, Joseph Ryan, who was dead, and Christine, who had suffered severe injuries. Sadly, Christine died from her wounds shortly after arriving at the nearest hospital. The couple's 4-year-old daughter was in the house during the incident, but was not physically harmed. The initial police reports painted a straightforward picture. 38-year-old Joseph Ryan allegedly broke into the Banfield's home, attacked Kristen with a knife, and was then shot by Brendan. After receiving medical treatment for a leg injury, Brendan refused to speak further with detectives or the media about the incident. Unlike him, Juliana fully cooperated with the authorities, providing detailed statements about the events of that morning. She claimed that she came home from work when she witnessed Ryan force his way into the house. According to Juliana, she called Brendan, who wasn't home at the time, and waited for him outside. She stated that they entered together, found Kristen injured, and encountered Ryan, who was still inside the house. In the confrontation that followed, Brendan allegedly grabbed a firearm and shot Ryan in self-defense. One contradiction arose regarding Juliana's living arrangements. Although nannies usually live with the host families, her testimony indicates that she arrived from elsewhere that morning. Neighbors reported that they often saw her at the Banfield's house with their daughter, but her exact living situation remained unclear. For more than 7 months, the police kept the investigation under wraps while gathering evidence. The case took a dramatic turn on October 19, 2023, when authorities arrested Juliana and charged her with second-degree murder. Investigators claimed that it was Juliana, not Brendan, who fired the fatal shots at Joseph Ryan. The timeline of events began when Juliana Peres, a 23-year-old Brazilian nanny, arrived at the house early in the morning. At around 7:50 a.m., Juliana made a brief call to 911, which was suddenly cut off. 13 minutes later, she made a second call, reporting that a friend was injured. After that, Brendan took over the call and told the dispatchers that he had found his wife, Christine, with stab wounds and had shot the intruder named Ryan. After the incident, Juliana cooperated with the police and gave an official statement. She claimed that she saw Joseph Ryan force his way into the house, which prompted her to call Brendan, who was not home at the time. According to her, Brendan asked her to stay calm and assured her that he would arrive quickly. Juliana stated that she waited outside for safety reasons until Brendan arrived, after which they entered the house together, discovered Christine's injuries, and spoke with Ryan. Her statement raised questions about her living arrangements, since nannies usually live with their host families. However, she mentioned that she had arrived at the house that morning. And how could anyone come up with this? Though, okay, you can make up anything, but how could anyone actually believe it? Okay, let's say there really is some psychopath and he breaks into the house where you're working as a nanny. But why is he ignoring you? Why isn't he shooting at you? Why doesn't he even take you hostage while you just stand there on the street waiting for Brendan? I mean, that's just total nonsense. It took the police more than 7 months to realize that the real psychos are Juliana and Brendan, and Ryan was just the bait. Over more than 7 months of detailed investigation, authorities gathered important evidence and conducted a thorough forensic analysis. This investigative process revealed significant inconsistencies in the initial version of events presented by both Brendan and Juliana. The forensic examination ultimately disproved the earlier testimonies, leading investigators to conclude that it was Juliana, not Brendan, who fired the fatal shots that killed Joseph Ryan. Additionally, investigators uncovered information suggesting that Christine and Joseph Ryan may have been in a relationship, which added another layer of complexity to the case. This evidence dramatically changed the understanding of what actually happened in the Banfield house that February morning. After the tragic events at the Banfield house, Juliana Peres continued to be actively present in the area. Neighbors often saw her at the house, where she looked after the Banfields' 4-year-old daughter. Her continued involvement in the family's life raised questions, especially considering that nannies usually live with their host families. However, it remained unclear exactly where Juliana was living during this period. By August 2023, about 6 months after the incident, Juliana's activity on social media indicated significant changes in her circumstances. She posted an online ad looking for a nanny job in the area. This job search activity strongly suggested that she was no longer part of the au pair program, since participants are prohibited from seeking work outside the program while enrolled. The investigation took an unexpected turn on October 19, 2023, when authorities arrested Juliana Peres. The arrest came as a surprise to many, including Juliana herself. Law enforcement charged her with second-degree murder, making a stunning announcement. Investigators believe that it was Juliana, not Brendan, who fired the fatal shots that killed Joseph Ryan. This turn of events contradicted the version of events previously presented by both Juliana and Brendan. The police spent more than 7 months meticulously gathering evidence, analyzing forensic data, and reconstructing the events of February 24th. Their investigation also uncovered another aspect of this story. According to statements Juliana made to her family in Brazil, she claimed that Joseph Ryan killed Christine because of disagreements that arose over their alleged relationship. The authorities' decision to charge Juliana marked a complete shift in their understanding of what actually happened that February morning, casting doubt on the initial version of a home invasion that had been accepted for several months. And I don't even know which of these two is the bigger psycho, Brendan or Juliana. On one hand, Brendan allowed such an incredible and terrible tragedy to happen. He took his own wife's life right in front of his very own daughter. On the other hand, there's Juliana, who killed a man with her own hands, who didn't even know he was becoming an accomplice to a crime. It's just so strange, and I realize now that they're actually the perfect couple. Except their place is somewhere in a psychiatric hospital. Juliana Peres was arrested in October 2023 and charged with second-degree murder and crimes related to firearms. In September 2024, Brendan Banfield was charged with multiple counts related to the murder and taken into custody. He was denied bail because he was considered a danger to his young daughter and a flight risk. In October 2024, Juliana pleaded guilty to the manslaughter of Ryan, agreeing to testify against Brendan Banfield for the prosecution. On February 2, 2026, Brendan Banfield was found guilty of aggravated murder. The following week, Juliana Peres was sentenced to 10 years in prison. At the same time, the judge ignored the prosecution's recommendation for time served, which had been made as part of a plea deal in exchange for her testimony in the case. But you'll ask, what was the motive for this couple after all? And this is where the most interesting details of this case come to light. And apparently, it's all because this couple just wanted to be closer to each other. But why they had to shed so much blood is still a mystery to me. Juliana Peres confirmed what some investigators had come to believe about the murders. It was a scam involving fake profiles. In her statement, she said that they created a fake user profile on the fetish-oriented social network FetLife.com using Kristen Banfield's laptop and posing as Anastasia 9, someone looking to fulfill a violent sexual fantasy with a stranger at her home. According to Juliana Peres, Brendan Banfield wanted to find someone who enjoyed violent roleplay and could be framed for the murder of Kristen Banfield. She said that Ryan was exactly that kind of person. Authorities learned that Ryan met other women through FetLife, but described him as someone who respected boundaries and was not prone to violence. Retired Fairfax County Police Captain Patrick Brush told Dateline. According to Brush, Ryan was lured and stalked. Ryan agreed to bring handcuffs, rope, and a knife to the Banfield's house. Brendan Banfield planned to stab his wife with that knife after shooting Ryan, Juliana Peres told authorities. Brendan Banfield's lawyer cross-examined Juliana Peres, asking why she waited so long to give her testimony to the authorities and pointing out the offer she received from a streaming service for an interview. In an email presented in court, she told her mother that she had been offered $10,000, but she believed she could negotiate a fee more than twice that amount. "We deserve something," she wrote in the message. "Why do you think you deserve something?" asked attorney John Carroll. "For everything we've been through," she replied from the stand. Brendan Banfield also testified, admitting to his relationship with Juliana Peres, but denying any involvement in planning or carrying out the murder of his wife. When he opened the door to his bedroom and saw Kristen Banfield on the floor with a man holding a knife behind her, he said he was extremely frightened. According to him, he shot Ryan after seeing him stab her with a knife. However, a prosecution witness was able to refute a key point in Brendan Banfield's testimony about that morning. In his testimony, Banfield stated that he was on his way to a work meeting with his boss when he stopped at McDonald's and Juliana Peres called him about an unfamiliar SUV in the driveway. But after this testimony, Brendan Banfield's boss told authorities that no meeting had been scheduled, lead prosecutor Jenna Sands said on Dateline. In court, the boss stated that he was in Baltimore on an undercover operation. On February 2nd, after 9 hours of deliberation, the jury found Brendan Banfield guilty of aggravated murder. 11 days later, the judge sentenced Julian Peres to the maximum penalty for manslaughter, 10 years in prison. "Your actions were deliberate, selfish, and showed a profound disregard for human life," stated Chief District Court Judge Penny Ascarate. "This is the most serious case of manslaughter ever tried in this court. I believe that this couple received an absolutely well-deserved punishment. As I said earlier, Brendan could have just cheated on his wife, left his daughter, abandoned her, and gone off somewhere with his new lover. Yeah, I know, that's not a manly thing to do, but at least that way, no one would have gotten hurt. He took his wife's life and dealt such an irreparable psychological blow to his daughter. And all for what? For some fleeting attraction? That's all for today. Friends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching my videos all the way to the end. See you soon. I'll see you very soon. And bye everyone.